If your mother had high blood pressure, and her mother did too, and you've made peace with pills being the only answer, stop for 2 minutes. The missing piece was never salt or genes. It is something as simple as when you drink water. I'm Dr. Tanaka. I've sat with patients told their pressure is in their blood, exhausted, frustrated, still on medication. A specific timing has made a difference for people who tried everything else. And the method most people never hear about is the one that changes everything. High blood pressure is not just a reading your doctor circles in red. It is the single largest risk factor for stroke in adults over 60, more than smoking, more than cholesterol, more than family history alone. Every point above the healthy range is additional pressure on the walls of your arteries, and arteries that spend years under that pressure harden, narrow, and eventually fail. The difference between a reading that is managed and one that is not can be the difference between living independently at 80 and not making it there at all. And here is what most people over 60 have never been told about that number. It is not fixed. Your blood pressure is not a fixed number. Right now, as you are reading this, it is different from what it was an hour ago. It moves constantly, rising and falling in response to activity, stress, posture, and something most people never think about: the state of your hydration. When your body is even mildly dehydrated, your blood volume drops slightly. Your heart has to work harder to push reduced fluid through the same network of vessels. Your kidneys, sensing the drop in volume, release hormones that tell your blood vessels to constrict. The result is a measurable rise in your blood pressure, not from salt, not from stress, not from anything your medication was built to handle. It is simply your body responding to not having enough water at the right time. And this is something you can actually do something about, starting today. The connection between hydration and blood pressure has been studied extensively. Research published in the European Heart Journal found that adults who maintained adequate hydration had significantly lower rates of cardiovascular events over 25 years compared to those who were chronically mildly dehydrated. Though, as with all observational research, this reflects association rather than direct cause and effect. What is not in dispute is the mechanism. By the time you feel thirsty at 65, your body is already running behind. There is something else worth understanding before we get to the solution, and it has to do with the specific hours when blood pressure is most dangerous. The medical community has known for decades that blood pressure follows a daily rhythm. It is lowest during deep sleep. It begins rising in the early morning hours before you even wake up, a phenomenon called the morning surge. For most people with hypertension, the peak reading of the entire day occurs somewhere between 6 and 10 in the morning. This is also, not coincidentally, when the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur. The morning surge is a real and well-documented cardiovascular risk, and it is driven in part by the same hormonal systems that respond to hydration status. What this means practically is that the hours immediately after waking are the most important hours of the day for blood pressure management. Whatever you do in those first 30 to 60 minutes sets the tone for the cardiovascular stress your body will experience through the morning. Most people roll out of bed, make coffee, skip water, and head into the highest risk window of the day, already behind on hydration. The medication they took the night before has been metabolized. The overnight fast has left their blood volume slightly reduced, and the morning surge is already beginning. If you have been trying to manage your blood pressure for years and have not gotten the results you hoped for, there is a good chance one of these patterns is part of the reason. These are the 3 mistakes I see most often. Mistake number 1, drinking most of your water in the evening. This is extremely common, especially among people who are busy during the day and suddenly realize at 7 in the evening that they have barely had anything. So they drink a large glass or 2 before bed. The problem is that the timing is working against them in 2 ways. Late fluid intake is processed by the kidneys overnight, which disrupts sleep. And the morning hours, when blood pressure naturally peaks for most people, arrive with the body still in a mild fluid deficit from the night before. That morning spike in blood pressure, which is when most cardiovascular events occur, is partly a hydration problem that has an easy fix. Mistake number 2, and I completely understand why this happens. Many people take blood pressure medication first thing in the morning and have been told to take it with just a small sip, which is medically correct for the medication. This is medically correct for the medication itself, but it leads many patients to stay in a low fluid state all morning. The medication is doing its job, but the hydration deficit is creating its own upward pressure on blood vessels. The medication and the hydration are not working together. They are working against each other. I had a patient, 68 years old, on 2 blood pressure medications for a decade, readings still not where anyone wanted them. When I asked about her morning routine, it turned out she had coffee at 7, nothing else until noon. Once she changed that pattern, her morning readings dropped noticeably within 3 weeks. She told me she wished someone had asked about this years earlier. Mistake number 3, treating all fluids as equal. Coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, both are diuretics. They pull more fluid out of your body than they put in. A morning coffee without adequate water alongside it means you are starting the most pressure-sensitive part of your day already behind on hydration. This does not mean eliminating coffee. It means understanding what it does and compensating accordingly. Welcome to this channel, where we share evidence-based health information for adults over 60 who want real answers, not just reassurance. If this is the kind of content that helps you, subscribe now so you do not miss our weekly videos. Now, let me walk you through exactly what I recommend, because understanding the why only matters if you know what to do with it. Rule number 1, hydrate before you do anything else in the morning. Before coffee, before breakfast, before medication. Drink 1 full glass of water within the first 15 minutes of waking. Your body has been without water for 7 or 8 hours. Your blood volume is at its lowest point of the day. Your blood pressure is climbing toward its natural morning peak. That glass of water is the simplest and fastest way to give your cardiovascular system what it needs before the most vulnerable hours of the day begin. The research on this is clear. Morning hydration is consistently associated with lower morning blood pressure readings in people with hypertension. Rule number 2, front-load your water intake. Aim to drink roughly 70% of your daily fluid intake before 3 in the afternoon. This is the rule that surprises most people the most, because it runs directly counter to how most people actually drink. But the logic is straightforward. Your body needs several hours to process fluid. If the majority of your hydration happens in the morning and early afternoon, your blood volume is stable through the day, your kidneys are working efficiently, and your blood pressure has the support it needs through the hours when it is naturally most variable. A practical way to do this: keep a glass on the counter next to where you make your morning coffee. Fill it before you start the coffee. Refill it with lunch. Have another glass with any afternoon snack. By the time dinner arrives, you should feel genuinely hydrated, not thirsty, not behind. Rule number 3, the 2-hour taper before bed. Starting about 2 hours before you plan to sleep, begin reducing your fluid intake gradually. Not stopping completely, a few small sips are fine, especially if you are taking evening medication. But this is not the time for a full glass of water or a cup of herbal tea. The goal is to let your kidneys catch up before you lie down, so that the fluid being processed overnight is not keeping you awake, and so that your blood pressure has the support it needs without the disruption of fluid surges during the night. Rule number 4, replace the morning coffee offset. If you drink coffee in the morning, and most people do, add an additional half glass of water for every cup. This is not about eliminating coffee, which I would never suggest, and which the research does not support eliminating for most people with hypertension. It is about compensating for the diuretic effect, so that your net hydration for the morning is positive rather than negative. This one change alone has made a measurable difference for patients in my practice who implemented nothing else. Rule number 5, and this is the one most people never hear about. The temperature of your water matters more than you might expect. Cold water triggers a mild vasoconstrictive response in some people. a brief tightening of blood vessels that temporarily raises pressure. Room temperature or slightly warm water does not produce this response. For most people, this difference is small, but for someone whose pressure is already elevated and who is drinking cold water first thing in the morning, switching to room temperature is a small change that removes one source of unnecessary pressure spike from the most sensitive part of the day. Let me bring this together clearly. Your blood pressure is not a fixed number that pills can simply override. It responds to what you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and to how and when you hydrate. The medication does its part. The hydration timing does its part. When both are working together, the results are consistently better than when only one of them is. The people who tell me they have tried everything and nothing works are almost always the people who have not yet tried the timing. They have reduced salt. They have exercised. They have taken the medication faithfully. They have not thought carefully about whether they are starting each morning with their cardiovascular system already running a fluid deficit into its most vulnerable hours. Try this for 2 weeks. 1 glass of water within 15 minutes of waking. 70% of your daily fluid before 3 in the afternoon. A gradual taper starting 2 hours before bed. Room temperature water in the morning. And an extra half glass for every caffeinated drink. Track your readings morning and evening as you would normally. Then come back and tell me what you noticed. This video is for educational purposes only and does not replace the advice of your personal physician. Please speak with your doctor before making changes to your treatment plan.